The Rurik Dynasty was the founding dynasty of the medieval Russian state and one of the most influential ruling families in Eastern Europe. Its origins trace back to the 9th century, and it played a central role in shaping the political, cultural, and social landscape of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. The dynasty is traditionally believed to have been founded by Rurik, a Varangian, Viking, chieftain, who was invited to rule over Novgorod around 862 AD to bring order among the Slavic and Finnic tribes of the region. Rurik's ascendancy marked the beginning of centralized governance in the area, which would evolve into the powerful Kievan Rus state. Origins and early history. The Rurikids were of Scandinavian origin, specifically from the Varangian Vikings, who traveled along the rivers of Eastern Europe for trade, conquest, and settlement. Rurik's arrival in Novgorod established a political structure based on hereditary monarchy, a system that would remain central to Eastern Slavic governance for centuries. After Rurik's death in 879, his kinsman Oleg of Novgorod became regent for Rurik's son Igor and extended Rurikid control southwards, including the conquest of Kiev in 882. This marked the foundation of the Kievan Rus, with Kiev as the political and cultural center of the emerging state. Consolidation of power in Kievan Rus. Under the Rurikids, Kievan Rus expanded significantly. Princes like Oleg, Igor, and Sviatoslav I consolidated territories along the Dnieper, Dniester, and Volga rivers, securing trade routes between the Baltic and Black Seas. The dynasty's rule was characterized by a combination of military conquest and strategic alliances through marriage with neighboring tribes and states. Rurikid princes also established systems of tribute collection, which strengthened central authority while allowing local tribal leaders to maintain a degree of autonomy. Vladimir the Great and Christianization. One of the most notable figures of the Rurikid dynasty was Vladimir the Great, ruled 980 to 1015. Vladimir's reign marked a turning point in the history of Eastern Europe. He unified the disparate principalities under a single authority and expanded the dynasty's influence. Most importantly, Vladimir converted to Christianity in 988 and initiated the Christianization of Kievan Rus, adopting Byzantine Christianity as the state religion. This not only strengthened political ties with the Byzantine Empire but also laid the foundation for the cultural and religious identity of the region. Yaroslav the Wise and legal codification. Following Vladimir, his son Yaroslav the Wise, ruled 1019 to 1054, continued to enhance the dynasty's power. He is credited with codifying laws in the Ruskaya Pravda, the first written legal code of Kievan Russian. Yaroslav also fostered diplomatic relations with European states through marriage alliances and promoted education, architecture, and religious institutions. Under the Rurikids, Kievan Rus became a cultural and political hub, attracting scholars, artisans, and merchants. Fragmentation and regional branches. After Yaroslav's death, the Rurikid realm gradually fragmented due to disputes over succession, which was based on a complex system of seniority and lateral inheritance. This fragmentation led to the rise of regional principalities such as Novgorod, Vladimir Suzdal, Galicia Volhynia, and Smolensk, each ruled by branches of the Rurikid family. Despite this decentralization, Rurikids remained the dominant political force, with interprincely alliances and rivalries shaping the political landscape of Eastern Europe for centuries. Mongol invasion and adaptation. The 13th century brought a major challenge to the Rurikids with the Mongol invasion, 1237 to 1240. The Mongols devastated Kiev and many other principalities, forcing Rurikid rulers to pay tribute to the Golden Horde. Despite the external threat, the dynasty survived by relocating their power centers, most notably to Vladimir Suzdal and later to Moscow, which eventually became the nucleus of a centralized Russian state. The rise of Moscow and the end of Kievan influence. By the late 14th and 15th centuries, the Rurikids of Moscow, including figures such as Ivan I and Ivan III, Ivan the Great, consolidated power over other Russian principalities. Ivan III notably ended Mongol domination and declared himself the ruler of a unified Russian state, positioning Moscow as the political and spiritual successor to Kievan Rus. Over time, Moscow became the focal point of the Rurik Dynasty, overshadowing older centers like Novgorod and Kiev. Legacy of the Rurikids. The Rurik Dynasty lasted for over 7 centuries, influencing Eastern Europe's politics, culture, and religion. It established the framework of monarchy, centralized governance, and Orthodox Christianity that would define Russia and neighboring states for centuries. The dynasty eventually ended in the male line with Tsar Feofor I in 1598, leading to the Time of Troubles, after which the Romanov dynasty succeeded the Rurikids on the Russian throne. Nevertheless, cadet branches of the Rurikids continued to hold regional authority and influence throughout Eastern Europe. Conclusion. The Rurik dynasty was more than a ruling family, it was the cornerstone of Russian statehood and identity. From Viking chieftain Rurik to the princes of Moscow, the dynasty shaped the development of Eastern Europe, establishing political institutions, cultural norms, and religious traditions that endure to this day. Their legacy is evident in the historical and cultural continuity of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus.